Welcome to Actual Scale Modelling. This is part 7 of the MENG 9A52-2 Smerch Russian long-range rocket launcher. In part 6 I dealt with putting on the wheels, the battery unit, and also the first side panels going on as well. As I said in the last video, I forgot to put on the mud flaps right at the end. I did put them on after I made the video. In fact, some of the end photos you've probably seen them on anyway, but it was just a little bit of glue attached to them, so there was no drama. Just forgot to put them on. So in part 7 I'm going to be starting the main cab of the unit now, so there'll be quite a bit involved in that, so there's no time like the present. Let's go on with it. Start with painting the headlights, and I'm painting these in Rebel Aquacolor 90 Silver. Now a lot of the cab assembly process will be painted on the sprue, so I'll be going through that first in preparation before assembly. So now I'm painting the side walls, and I'm painting that with Rebel Aquacolor 362 greyish green, and some of the side panels need to be painted on both sides, so just pay attention to that. You may just want to paint both sides anyway, just to be on the safe side. That's what I did, just for ease of assembly later on. Then now I'm painting the inside of the cab, and this is getting painted in Tamiya's XF25 light sea grey, slightly different colour than what it's calling for, but I thought, no, you know what, I like this colour, I'm going to go with it. So I'm using this colour for all the inside areas of the cab. I had a slight problem here. The glass part for the headlight, you can just see they're pinging off. I couldn't find it again, so I've had to resort to the old technique of using canopy glue as a window. Now what I'm using here is Formula 560 canopy glue by Zap, and this stuff's brilliant. Not only does it stick canopy glues together without leaving any marks and fumes, it can also act as a window replacement. And all you do is put the glue in and draw it over the edge that you want to cover as a window. Now this dries completely clear and acts as a window, and of course the thicker you put it on, it will be the thicker film that will act as a window. But it does take a bit of time to dry to that process, especially if you put it on thick. So attention is turning to the doors now, and there's two parts to each door, the inner part and the outer part. So you can paint them separately. You don't have to worry about switching or turning them around, which is really handy. The actual assembly of the door is fairly straightforward, although the parts are quite small. First of all, there's the opening lever mechanism that has to be placed in, and then there's two grab handles that go on as well. Again, these are small, so you're going to need a good pair of tweezers to do this. I'm using my Old Faithfuls, and these are pointed tweezers which are excellent for the job. There's also a panel that goes into the door. It just fits into the recess of the bottom. There's also a lever that goes onto the window and photo etch, and that is painted in FX56 metallic grey by Tamiya, and it's a very small part which will require bending as well. So when you put it in, just be careful, but I'll get to that. The levers and the grab handles are also painted in the Tamiya XF56 metallic grey. I found it better painting them once they were actually on. Now back to the photo etch part. It's a tiny little lever with a ring light at the end, and you have to bend the ring light one way and the end the other way, so you're creating like an S shape. Now the photo etch, as I said before, is excellent quality, so it takes a bit of bending. I really should have used my bending tool on this, but the parts are so small I was afraid I would lose them. So I put them, I bent them with my tweezers. Now to put them on, there's a little recess point on top of the window, and use the tiniest amount of super glue to put them on. Remember, you don't want to use a glue that's going to set off a lot of fumes. The best way to avoid that, if you've got no choice, is to put the glue onto the piece and let the vapours evaporate before you put it anywhere near the plastic window. I did think about using the canopy glue, but I don't think it would be strong enough to hold the photo at each part. That's why I used super glue. And then once it was on, it was a simple case of putting the window into the door, and there's a couple of hinges on the door for the window, and you can have that open or closed. I'm having mine closed, but it is entirely up to you how you want to do it. I did find that I needed a couple of clamps to keep this unit together for the two halves of the door. So you have to be careful that the clamps don't touch the actual window as well. Now onto the front wall of the cab, and there's a couple of little assembly things to do first. There's all the dials and knobs that have to go on. I think it's important that you do it this way, put them on first, because afterwards we've got some decals to put on. So you want to put them on, then paint them, and that's back to the XF25 light sea grey. Now there's a couple of canisters there that you put on a fire extinguisher. The two canisters at the back there, they're painted in Rebel Aquacolor 08 matte black, and that's the only colour difference on this particular part. Now the paint's dry, it's time to put the decals on. So warm water for the decal with the Humbrol Decal Fix solution to soften up the decal further once they're on. Now there's quite a few decals here to put on. Also they're all very small. These decals are for the dials and panel markings. The decals are quite good as well. It's a small decal sheet, but these things don't take a lot of decals. So look at your instructions, see which ones that you need, and then cut them off from the decal sheet. And then it's 10 seconds in warm water, a little bit of decal fix on the part, and then gently just place the decal on. I'm using a cocktail stick here. I find it easier than using a brush, but a brush sharpener can work as well. So as I said, there's quite a few on here. This is the side panel, which will be going on once the decals are all placed on and dried. Now when you're placing these decals on, you find you've got too much liquid on the part and the decals just floating around. Just use a little bit of tissue and let it soak up the liquid. But the decal will move again, so you'll have to put it back into position. But that just soaks away any excess water or solution that you've got on the actual part itself. So while the decals are drying, it's time to put on the outer handle for the door, and it's the same process as with the inner handle. Again, just very small parts, and they go in the little recess where the door handle should be. There's a tiny location point for them to go in. Now that decals are dry, I can put on the side panel now. It goes on at an angle, but the location points are easy enough to figure out, and it just pops in without any fuss. Back to the prep and painting on the sprues. So I'm using Rebel Aquacolor 08 matte black, and this is for the side of the seat, so the brackets that hold on the seats. Then I'm moving on to 362 greyish green for the outside of this panel. I'm not sure whether this panel has to be painted, but I thought I would just paint it anyway just in case. For the seats I'm using 8-7 Earth Brown by Rebel Aquacolor, and this is going to be both portions of the seat, so the front for the seat itself and the back part of the seat. And from the framework I'm using XF25 light sea grey. And then I'm just going around painting all the little bits on the sprue with those colours before I assemble the seats. It's quite a bit to do here, hence why I'm pre-painting. Now I'm actually running out of time for the day on this build, so I didn't get a lot done, but that's the nature of things. So it's only a short video today. However, it was mainly down to the decals. They take quite a lot of time to dry, and you can't really move on until you do that, so hence why not a lot was done really. So if you get the opportunity, why don't you check the rest of the videos for this build if you haven't done so already. The build will make a lot more sense then, I suppose. If you've got any comment about the build, please feel free to leave them. If you'd like me to build a particular kit, just let me know. I'm sure I can arrange something. But in the meantime, why don't you check out my other videos on the channel? There's probably something there for everyone. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.